Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
Everyone, welcome to the show. So 41-year-old Massachusetts resident Vincent Gillespie was seen inside the Lower West Terrace tunnel. He was committing numerous acts of violence that day. He was screaming at the police, saying things like treason, calling them traitors. Prior to entering the tunnel, Gillespie obtained numerous riot shields that had been stolen from the police, and he was alternating between using them to assault the police and also defensively. So he was using them to push on the officers. He was also using them to prevent the officers from regaining control of the tunnel, keeping the pepper spray away from the mob, preventing them from hitting the mob or pushing them back. So at one point, Gillespie assaulted Sergeant Paul Riley. Then Gillespie grabbed him by the arm and he dragged him out towards the violent mob. And as he's doing this, as he's restraining the officer's arm, the officer was then being beaten by another person with a crutch. So after about 15 minutes of violence, Gillespie finally left the tunnel, but then he remained on the Capitol grounds and he gave an interview to the Associated Press. When he was asked what happened, Gillespie said, quote, "We started bursting into that room. We were going into that room and opening, and I was with some other guys. We started pushing against them. They were beating us and pepper spraying us in our eyes. But there were a bunch of people pushing behind us. We were very close. We were almost overpowering them. If you had like another 15, 20 guys behind us pushing, I think we could have won it. But there were a bunch of people pushing behind us. What you guys need to know, and no one is going to listen to this, we were very fucking close. If more people had been behind, then there's the second set of doors. We would have just burst through it." So the reporter asked Gillespie, what would you have done? What would you have done if you had been able to take control of the Capitol? And he said, quote, "I would hope they would flood in, so there's nothing they can do. That's what I would hope they would do. Take it over. Own it for a few days. I'm not an anarchist, but you can't let this stand, what happened in this election." So Gillespie was arrested on February 18th of 2022, and he was charged with assaulting officers, civil disorder, entering restricted grounds, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, 2 counts of physical violence, and obstructing an official proceeding. Unlike most others, Gillespie refused a plea deal. He opted instead for a jury trial, and Gillespie admitted at the trial that he realized at some point that pushing on the officers wasn't really yielding any results. So he decided he was going to pull them out one by one to try to separate them and try to break the police line in that way. The jury found Gillespie guilty of assaulting officers, civil disorder, and 2 counts of physical violence. And based on the assault conviction and the fact that Gillespie was committing another felony at the same time that he committed that crime, he was looking at up to 8 years in prison, 3 years of probation, and $250,000 in fines. The government, as typical, requested less than that because the sentencing guidelines are always much different. So they asked for 87 months in prison, 3 years of probation, and a minimum of $5,000 in fines. And the prosecutor noted in their sentencing memo that Gillespie told numerous lies in his trial. He had taken no responsibility for his actions, but surprisingly, he doesn't have any previous arrests or conviction. Gillespie is a very litigious person, though, because it seems like he sues just about everyone for everything. Gillespie, just for instance, took a $15 non-refundable parking ticket all the way to the Supreme Court in his state. The prosecutor, though, they said, he hasn't really succeeded in any of his legal complaints, so he's not real good at it. But they also noted that even though he's educated as an engineer, even though that's what he did for a while, for the past 20 years, he's just been living off of his inheritance from his parents. His father apparently is this renowned artist. His paintings are displayed at very prestigious museums throughout the country. So Sounds like he has just too much time and too much money on his hands. And, he's another Nepo baby. He's another one who is, living off of the deeds of his father, like Trump. So, of course, he's a Trump supporter. Anyway, U.S. District Judge Beryl Howe presided over Gillespie's case, and I couldn't locate any details about what went down at the sentencing hearing. But Judge Howe sentenced Gillespie to 68 months in prison, 3 years of probation, a $25,000 fine, and $2,000 in restitution. So that's more like it. Although 87 months would have been even better, this was a respectable sentence. And then this guy was willing to fight over $15. Can you imagine what $25,000 is going to do? I mean, it's going to be painful for him. So anyway, guys, I will let you know if I hear any more. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like this video, share it with everyone. Please subscribe if you have not already. If you can donate, that is awesome. It helps the show immensely. So I appreciate all of you. Love you all. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.